Yeah, because they got a bunch of kills, but they got no map control. Yeah, it just wasn't enough. However, for the first time in this series, DK will be on the blue side. That should be a big win for them. I also imagine that after last game, they're like, maybe we shouldn't have picked Smolder. Maybe we could have just gone for Lucianami again. We don't love the Lucianami, but we do know that teams are going to prioritize it, so we might as well make our peace with it. As long as they ban Senna, we'll be all right.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it does feel like blue side has transitioned into being the just stronger side in general. Nowadays, you have a lot of very strong picks in the meta, and also diving bot has become a very common thing, as Huni was talking about, maybe something that teams should try to counter a little bit more often, especially with the Poppy on the Rift, but yeah, it feels like also you don't have to ban away certain crazy picks such as the Senna or the Lucian, which is apparently a big one to ban away, at least from aiming, who did look good on it in game number 1. Let's see what these final bans are going to look like, though. Is Kalista taken away on the blue side, so they just don't want to play that one.
Imagine they feel kind of forced into this because you don't want to give over the Azir, but now you force KT to ban it. And then you can pick up the Varus himself. It's gotta be.
Azir.
It has to be.
And BDD doesn't have Talia to play into it.
Exactly.
It's gotta be Azir, right? I mean, unless they want to play Smolder or something like that, but aiming gives him the nod. He says, no, you take your Azir.
You don't be one Smolder. Really, the more of Smolder I see, either pick him in a position where you can flex him, or pick him late in a draft when you can guarantee that the type of composition you're playing into allows him to actually be a dragon. Tristana comes through for BDD here. Probably going to be Pioshik on the Maokai, but we really don't know. I hope that KT leaves this ambiguous as well. Actually uses the power of the flex pick. Obviously, Beryl does like to pick a decent amount, as this time, Rel wasn't banned. Lucid's Sejuani play did not inspire a whole lot of confidence. His Rel has been great, so just going to lock that one away. There's lock in Aatrox. We all know it's happening.
Look at King's face, too. Even production's like, yeah, they're going to pick the Aatrox for this guy. Doesn't have to be that, of course, if you did want to get one pick for your bottom lane, but that can always be risky because you can get banned away from your second pick of the bottom lane. But I say that, and they pick Zeri. So it's just a straight-up Zeri by herself for now.
Really upping the value of a possible Nautilus picker if they do go for Kai'Sa. With Nautilus already being taken away, though, thank you, Veldes. Not going to see that one come through. Kai'Sa works really well with Maokai, both in support and just Maokai being in the game in general with the amount of pressure he provides. And I don't hate the Zeri pick here. Obviously, you do still need to get something that goes with it. But you can ban Vi as a real precaution if you do. Obviously, Maokai can be both support or jungle. If you ban Vi away, Vi and Nautilus already being taken off the board. And aiming after the last game, realizing if I was Zeri, that early play, that would have been fine. It wasn't fine.
Yeah.
Pick was the problem. Get me back on the Zeri. The Rakan ban really interesting here because I think that Zeri Rakan is such a weak lane. Don't really get a lot of opportunity to do anything into that. You also have Maokai already. So that to me is a bit of a waste of a ban.
That doesn't really do anything at all. Yes, Rel Rakan together is a lot of hard engage, but I think as we've already mentioned, there were better bans than that one, let's just say. A lot of them. The Jax ban, though, coming through here.
Yeah, good ban. You already have double AD, and you might be looking towards a Twisted Fate lock-in, which has been passed over thus far, but can pick that up here if you want, particularly on R5. But banning a Jax gives you the opportunity to pick it here, and then you still don't give away what your jungler/support is going to be. Yeah, DK, I think that does make a ton of sense. Do respect it. Perfect can play both Cassante and Udyr. Maybe they are going to end up giving him the counter pick instead. So Leona, if you do hit against Zeri, can be quite big, but it's tough. it's tough to reliably
It's like
get everything that you need.
we have Nautilus at home. Nautilus at home. Point and click CC like it's Leona Q. It's pretty difficult. You're gonna have to flash on top of the Zeri. Your Zenith Blade, your Solar Flare, all is very difficult to hit onto such mobile targets. Not just Zeri, but also Rel and Azir.
Oh God.
Definitely can be good on the disengage, as Braum was considered there for a moment. Instead, looking at the Aatrox here.
Kind of love it. You already have such good engage with Rel that you're not prized into playing for an engage support here. Kellen also has had great performances on Enchanters. It's going to be the Lulu with me saying that.
I thought maybe the Renata Glass could have gotten a
I actually was thinking the same thing. It's a melee comp outside of Tristana on the enemy end.
Yeah, I think it would have been really good into what they're looking at. I'm not sure how that lane plays. We don't see a lot of Zeri Renata, but potential to bail her out and stuff like that. Could have been interesting. Not going to happen. Wasn't banned in this game, as Gnar will come through. And now you've got 380 carries. Obviously, Gnar does a bit more than that, but certainly the Jax would have been strong into this comp, so it was always a good ban. The Rakan wasn't. But I think they still end up with a nice matchup for the top lane once again with the Gnar into the Aatrox.
Biggest saving grace this time around is the bot lane for DK. Zeri Lulu actually can have a large amount of lane pressure. Obviously, all lane of KT is going to have to be respected, but BO shaking not playing the Poppy this time around. Instead, on the Maokai. Also Lucid on Rel. He's going to feel and looks a lot more comfortable on that than he did on Sedge. Interesting game number 3 here, Veldes. I think that KT again have a very cohesive comp. They've really been favoring these kind of bulky, group up S5, go for the big CC style of compositions. Probably going to see a lot of Merc threats on the team though. I do always worry a little bit when you go both Leona as well as Maokai, because so much of the value of them gets mitigated somewhat if everyone on the enemy team heavily incentivized to stack some tenacity, which they most definitely will. Also, probably tank Azir to come through here if he thinks he could get away with it. Against Tristana, that might be a little hard.
Tank Azir, Aatrox, and Zeri. Sign me up. That sounds pretty good in